here come the smart Alecks. Meet the always provocative David Letterman. Everybody's mama, Pat Carroll. That dandy cowboy, Meredith. And now a man of ideas, Allen Ludden.
How are you? Oh, am I glad you're here. Now, as I was saying, in the next 30 minutes, we're going to have 3 enterprising guests who will bring their unique ideas before our 3 smart Alecks here. And believe me, they are smart Alecks. But it's good to see you, gang.
Sure, it's good seeing you.
Now, their job is going to be to ask questions and make comments on the ideas that our guests have brought to us. And then they will be up to our people panel over here, who represent you, the American public, to review the ideas and award their creators up to $1,500. The money, of course, will be used to further develop the projects. I'll explain how they vote later on. But now tell me, have you always heard that people who are in love, people who are very close, can communicate across a crowded room? They don't have to look at each other. They just know what the other is feeling. Well, it works in a crowded room, but sometimes the communication breaks down when one of the parties leaves the room. Well, you can imagine how excited we were when a man walked in our office the other day and told us that he had a device that would allow a wife to call a husband even if he were in somebody else's room. I want you to meet that man and his device right now. Tony?
Okay, Alan, our first guest is an artist and writer. Welcome, Don Christensen.
Hello, Don. Now, Don, you got a device that a wife can call her husband, right?
Right.
Where is it?
Here, well, first let me say that it's a his and her type gift. You know, the kind where money's no object. This is for a couple that has everything but a happy marriage. And so the husband gets this.
He does. Where does he put it?
He puts it in his ear.
Oh, okay.
It's a hearing aid that can't hear anything unless it's ultrasonic, very high frequency. Then the wife, she gets this, and it's a silent wife whistle, which blows at a ultra high frequency so that nobody else can hear it, but she can command her husband to come and report, you know, from anywhere in the house or the block even. You know.
Wherever he is.
Wherever he is, whatever he's doing, he drops what he's doing.
Okay. All right. Smart Alecks, you got the idea. Don Christensen here has a husband whistle. A husband whistle. I'll start with you, Pat. You got a minute.
Well, Don, obviously this, as you stated, is not for people who trust each other, basically. No. But I'm intrigued with this high frequency thing, because if it's this high, will it attract dogs?
Invariably.
I mean, invariably? In other words, you come with your husband, you leave with a schnauzer, right? Well, now, let me ask you a question. Cosmetically, would husbands be embarrassed to wear this device?
Oh, no. Hearing aids are seen quite often at parties.
Well, I don't see people going around inspecting each other's ears.
Well, yeah, but the thing about this hearing aid is that it does the job of shutting out half the noise at the party. And that's a big help, too, I think.
Well, may I ask you a question on behalf of the husband? In case he gets, the wife gets no response, does he use as an excuse it fell out? You know, like when she doesn't show up and she goes, where have you been? And he doesn't show up. I mean, does he say, darling, I'm sorry it fell out of my ear?
That's going to happen, but she's going to make sure that the next time it doesn't happen. Once that's happened, the seeds of suspicion are planted. And this is the whole idea is to take and put them out of the marriage, because he may not be guilty of anything, but she's always going to think so.
How long have you been in the marriage counseling business, Don?
Don, you say...
I started just last week.
You say it'll put them out of the marriage? What did you clarify that?
I meant put the suspicions out of the marriage.
The doubts out of the marriage.
Doubts out of the marriage.
Now, Don, take it from there.
Strange person you have here, Alan.
That's why we asked you.
Very strange, Goes in his ear.
Yeah.
Whistles.
Right.
That's carrying paranoia to the extreme, I think. So, it really is. You didn't marry, no, I guess that's probably right. How much does this thing cost?
Well, the cost now hasn't been determined, but the components are relatively cheap. The only thing about the hearing aid is that it has to have a decade counter that cuts the 30,000 frequency down to about 3,000, which you can stand.
Yeah, somebody come in, breaker, this is Big Mama, come on over. Yeah. I would have figured that. Yeah, right. I think you're pretty weird, Don. You got another name besides Don?
Yeah, but I wouldn't tell you.
No, I don't want to hear that.
It comes in between.
Lucille. Yeah, that's weird.
What comes in between, Don?
My middle name.
And you're not going to tell us
I'm not
that.
going to tell
His wife knows it. It's called Whistle. Don Whistle.
David Letterman.
Don, let me ask you something. Does this work on the same principle as the automatic garage door opener?
No, that's electronic, and there you've got a frequency problem, too. But perhaps I can answer your question best by saying that I think this truly has industrial applications.
Industrial applications?
Where you've got noise dominating everything and only a poor fellow with a beeper trying to keep track of somebody calling him. He gets it through his ear now.
He gets what through his ear? Are we talking about the same thing, Don?
Yeah.
So now the husband gets it through his ear, apparently. Some sort of biological development I was not heretofore aware of.
I was talking about, say, the lead man in an industrial assembly line or a fellow working next to an air hammer up on top of a dam. He could be, you know, signaled 1 beep, 2 beeps, 3 beeps, do this, do that.
We started at a party and we're ending up at a dam. I know.
Listen, Don, take heart. No matter what they say, they didn't get it through the ear. Now we're going to turn these people around, and they're going to face our people panel, and it is the people, the American public, who make the final decision. So, people panel, I give you the smart Alecks. Don.
I know leaders are lonely, folks, but can you imagine following somebody into combat with his wife controlling everything back at home? I don't think that dog will hunt. I really don't. I really don't think it'll make it. I think basically the situation is this Don back here goes to way too many parties. That's what he can do to cut this whole thing, this kind of parties. I don't think it'll go, really don't.
I'm very happy to have broken the filibuster from the senator from Texas. And ceded the floor. I happen to think that Don might have a little cynicism in this, but I'm glad we got into the industrial area, because I do believe that there is a certain thing. We're surrounded by noises today, and anything that would cut out the other noises would be divine.
Another whistle?
Well, another opening, another show. What difference does it make? But I happen to think that Don has a heck of an idea. However, I don't want to be the gal on the end of the whistle, because you never know what you're going to bring home.
Thank you. First of all, just let me say that I've been in amusement parks all over this great land of ours, but this ride here is perhaps the most exciting moment of my life. And if we have a little time later, you could all come down and ride on it. Now, back to Don and his particular idea. I think it's a, boy, I don't know. See, what I'm worried about, you get a guy, maybe a brain surgeon, doing a little delicate operation somewhere. All of a sudden, a siren goes off in the guy's ear. Whoops. Well, that's too bad. I don't know, maybe for industrial purposes, yeah, but the way he's trying to sell it now, I just don't think so.
Okay, Don, let's hope they listen to Pat, okay? Now, the people panel has heard what the smart Alecks have had to say, and now it's up to the members of the panel to vote, as you can see them doing right now. They're deciding how much money they're going to award Don for his husband whistle. They can award up to $500 in these categories. Necessity, do we need it? Practicality, does it work? Marketability, will it sell? So a perfect score could mean for Don $1,500. Now, the people panel here is a cross-section of today's studio audience. It represents you, the American public, and today's panel has been chosen by computer under the supervision of Mr. Howard Marylander of the Marylander Marketing Research Corporation. Mr. Marylander.
Yes, Mr.
Will you verify that this is the panel that was selected scientifically?
It is, Mr. Ludden.
Mr. Marylander, I love that tie.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Ludden.
Okay, Mr. Marylander, do you have your results?
Yes, our people panel heard your call, Mr. Christensen. They awarded you 274 in marketability, 263 in necessity, and 229 in practicality.
Well, they didn't think it was as practical as they thought you could saleable, but you've got a total of, Don, and look at that. You got $766 to promote this device. And that's pretty good, right? Hey, stick around. You're going to meet a lady in a moment who will make President Carter very happy. We'll be right back. Let's go. You know, on this show, you have to do everything. I have some bread here, David. Would you have a piece?
Absolutely.
Taste it. You'll love it.
I love your parties, by the way.
All right.
Do you cater often?
As often as anybody asks.
Well, I will be asking.
Okay, there you go.
Are we
Don.
to eat this?
Yes, of course. Of course.
Certainly is.
Did you do this up?
Well, I'll tell you about that in a moment. Taste
Certainly
it.
is,
Taste it.
Huh?
Oh, you know, that's really very good, isn't it?
Oh,
Taste it.
yeah.
Now, I'll tell you this much about the bread you're eating.
Okay.
It was made with something you could find in your own backyard. Now, oh, well, look, I ate it too. I want you to meet the lady who baked it. Tony.
Alan, she's a junior high school science teacher who holds a degree in biology. Greet Barbara Carter.
Hello, Barbara. Nice to see you.
Thank you.
Hey, listen, I served you bread, and they all ate it, and I ate it, and it tastes very good. What's it made with?
It's made with crickets, Alan.
All right. Smart Alecks, I give you Barbara Carter.
I haven't swallowed yet.
I give you Barbara Carter, who just baked the bread you ate, made with crickets. Don, how are you? I'll give you a minute. Hang on, Barbara.
Beep, beep. Made it with crickets, huh, did you, Barbara? Things been tough, haven't they? It's been a long... Barbara, how did you call this an invention? Was this out of necessity?
I believe it's very necessary considering the protein shortage that the world's about to come to. There is a lot of protein in insects. And
Yeah, it's a good way to clean up the backyard. I mean,
Right.
you got to cover. How did you get into it? You said you were a biology teacher, and you just studied it and knew that the cricket had a lot of protein in there?
No, I wrote a cookbook, and my co-author was a...
Cricket.
No.
I didn't mean that.
Right, Jiminy Cricket. You know
Jimmy
what I was
Cricket.
on Pinocchio,
Jimmy Cricket
right?
corn,
No.
and I don't care.
I
right.
was an entomology teacher, and he wrote a book before on why we should eat insects, and so I thought we should get together and write a book on how you fix them.
How about the side effects of these crickets crawling around in there? I mean,
About the only thing you do is rub your legs together every night.
Oh, you're fine. That's very good. Don't let him put you on now.
Really pretty good. You can also rub legs with somebody else, too. I'm sorry.
Whose turn is it?
It's yours if you want to get it. Jump on.
No, it's David's.
My
David,
turn.
yeah.
It's not your turn.
My turn. How much crickets? Boy, and a good friend of yours is, where is this friend now?
Oh, my co-author?
Yes, is
Sitting
he
in the
out
audience.
walking around with us?
Right.
Oh,
he's here
good.
today.
Do you just use crickets instead of flour?
No, there's regular flour in here. It's like a regular yeast bread. It's just that we put a cup of chopped crickets in it. We use it's an added ingredient.
Cup of chopped crickets. Is it tough to clean a cricket?
No, very easy as a matter of fact.
They're little bitty things, aren't they?
Ours are about that big. They're large enough to be able to pull the wings off and the legs off.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much. I'll be leaving now. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. You do anything with pets?
Well, if you have a pet bee, we also have recipes in the cookbook for bees. And the little mealworms that your children may sell or give to salamanders, we have recipes for those too.
And this actually, it doesn't, I mean, I think this may be right about here in my throat.
The idea is there, not
Okay,
the
it's
bread.
the idea, not the cricket itself, right?
Right.
All right, Pat, your turn. Barbara and her mealworms.
Well, besides the mealworms and our wonderful cricket that we just had, Barbara, what kind of reaction do you get, say, when you serve your termite pie?
It depends on who I serve it to.
Don't mess with my Barbara here.
Well, honey, you can try on me because I got a firm foundation. Now, let me ask you something, because this is something, with all of our joking, we have glossed over. There is indeed high protein value in the insect world.
Right.
Right? So this would, indeed, all of your recipes that you have in your book would be good for people who are watching their weight.
Except the mealworm, which is fattening also.
Oh, well, I'd stay away from that. Oh, yes. I think on principle, I'd stay away from
Well,
that.
I'm glad
yes.
she brought that out about the protein value. Okay, I'm going to move the Smart Alecks now over here to the people panel. And Barbara, as you know, it is really up to the public to find out now whether they will accept your idea of the protein that is there for them to eat in insects. Give you the people panel and the Smart Alecks. Don, you go.
Well, I don't think it's all that bad, as a matter of fact. I never could figure out who ate the first oyster. They like first snail. David ate the first cricket. He ate one before I did. It was not that bad. I think it probably is ways we can use food that we're not using right now. Just kind of use more. We're in a matter. I think it's the times. It's in the times we're going to cut the fat off, and.
I beg your pardon.
We're going to lean up a little bit. We're going into bugs, folks. I think this could be a good idea. Let's go for bugs and things like that. Not bad, not a bad idea.
Well, I've got to tell you something. This has been one of the most experiences of the interesting life I haven't led that I have ever. And with all the joking, I must say Barbara's onto something. Because the first, when Alan said something in your backyard, I began thinking the things that were in my backyard. And we're way ahead with what Barbara's making. I vote for it.
Yeah, you know, I ate the stuff, and it's not that bad, actually. It's... And you really can't taste crickets in there, you know, and I think it's a good area. I don't think maybe we have it right here, but it's interesting that there are people concerned about other sources of food, so I find that to be encouraging. And also, it would cut down on shopping time. Just hang a pest strip in your oven, and just come over. And, of course, it's a real time saver. We no longer have to wait for someone to pass the bread now. It'll just crawl over to us. So,
You know, Barbara, I think on the whole, you really sold them. They really did a good selling pitch. Now, the members of the people panel here have heard what the Smart Alecks have had to say, and they really gave them a good job, I think. They're voting right now, the people panel. Remember, they're considering this idea from the point of view of necessity, practicality, and marketability, and they have $500 to award in each area to Barbara here. Okay, Mr. Mary Leonard, you still have the same panel?
Yes, sir.
You got the results?
Sure do.
What'd they say?
Mrs. Carter, our people panel must really feel that protein is important because they gave you 403 on necessity, 371 on marketability, and 325 on practicality.
Barbara, that's a real vote of encouragement. Congratulations. You know what you got? You got a total of $1,099. And I'm glad to see that people are open to new ideas like that. And you really presented it beautifully. Hey, stick around in a moment. We're going to meet a woman who says she has the answer to late-night noise pollution. We'll be right back. You know, I have a confession to make. I snore. I snore so loud that sometimes I wake myself up. But I stop easy. Betty just nudges, I roll over, and I stop, and that's a traditional way to stop a snorer. In the past, however, there have been more exotic ways of stopping snorers. Did you know that in England, they used to drop soap pellets into the snorer's mouth, and in Australia, they'd cut off your uvula?
No.
Yeah, that's that little thing in the back of your throat right there. Now, that, of course, is not a very humane way, but I want you to meet a lady now who says she has a very humane and a very sure way to stop us all from snoring. Tony?
Okay, Alan, she's an expert creator of custom gold jewelry. Please welcome Bonnie Russo.
Hello, Bonnie. How are you?
Fine. What do you have there? These are nose buds.
These are what?
Nose buds.
Nose buds.
Right.
Now, how do they work?
Well, snoring is caused by turbulent air vibrating the back of your throat. And by putting nose buds in the vestibule of your nose...
Now, the vestibule of my nose is right in front?
Right in the front.
Okay. Is that right?
Right.
Is that right?
That's right.
Better, Alan, I must
I
say.
got him in the vestibule?
You have them in the vestibule.
Now, what'll that do?
It makes the air go in smooth instead of turbulent.
Oh, it does. I can see. All right.
He's turning
Panel,
blue.
panel, I give you Bonnie Russo
Somebody help
and her
that man.
nosebud idea. And I'll start with you, Don.
Huh. Can't use those more than about once or twice, can you? I mean, you get a whole package of those up. Think about winter, colds.
One day.
My dog snores. Really does snore. And, of course, when I, made the whole deal with Susan, dog was part of the deal. Did they work on dogs and things like that, too?
Well, if you're into putting your finger up your dog's nose, you could try
Don't mess with her, Don Meredith.
Who told you about me, Bonnie? Do we know each other? Women snore, I guess. Everybody, you do. It just fits. It's one for all noses. Nose for all seasons.
Right.
Buds.
Right.
You know what would bother me, though? If I were to sniff real hard like one of those. I mean, heck, I could wind up with cotton balls on the brain or something like that.
Bonnie, show him that little string there.
There's a tether that connects them so you can't inhale.
Yeah, but this
them.
side my nose don't work hardly at all, see? And so that would go up that other side.
Pat!
Could happen.
Go, David. I'm going to go David.
No, I think you've got cotton balls on the brain.
David.
Bonnie, is it David? I'm sorry. I just get so
I
carried
have
away.
to hold you to
That's
the
all right.
last.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I don't know if they work, but sure is attractive. And actually, Alan and I have the same solution whenever I find myself snoring. Betty just nudges me, too. And, no, hey, hold it. It's America, huh? Okay, Bonnie. We're having a lot of fun here now, aren't we?
Yeah.
Let me see. Now, isn't snoring a natural bodily pursuit?
$1,500 to Alan to give to Betty so we can put Betty on the road to solve all the snoring. That would be
Isn't that good for you? Isn't it biologically healthy to snore?
No.
It's not.
No. It doesn't make a difference one way or the other.
Well, now, wouldn't the man also stop breathing?
No, they don't block any of the air coming in.
Is it uncomfortable, that thing pinching inside your nose like that?
Are you asking me?
Yes, you're the only one wearing.
I am breathing and it's not uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And you're not snoring.
Try
And I'm not
snoring. Try it.
That's great.
But if you keep talking, I may go to sleep and find out. All right, Pat?
Oh, Bonnie, let me ask you something. Why couldn't, and now I'm getting to be the practical housewife, right? Why couldn't I just take 2 cotton balls and put them up my nose? Why your rosebud nosebuds?
Well, first of all, we found that when you go into the store and you see things and you say you could make them yourself, you never go home and do it yourself. When it's already made and it's next to the bed, it's easy to use.
That's a good answer, Michael.
I don't even know if I want to ask another question. I think she's frightfully bright, brighter than I. Let me ask you a question again, and this is kind of cosmetic. Does one size fit all, or do you like have a Barbara Streisand size and a,
One size fits all.
That's fortunate for all of us. You're marvelous.
Okay, I will take these out now, and you see, and we're going to swing them around. No, there's nothing wrong with that. All right, people panel, I give you, and please keep them, the smart Alecks.
Nosebuds for everybody. Clean sleep, clean air. Keeps clean minds. Noise pollution, get it all away. I'm for it. I'm for water and against sin also. If you love me half as much as I love Texas, ain't no question who you're gonna vote for on Tuesday. Well, I don't know. I think it'll probably be all right. I want one for Dink, one for Susan, and for guests who drop over, like Alan and Betty. Betty, come over.
I confess before you, I too am a snorer. Yes, you heard it first here. Take up your hymnals and we will all sing chapter 123. But I happen to think that any of those devices, you know, like the things you put in your ears to cut out noise, why not up your nose? I rest my case.
I snore also. I like snoring. It gives me something to do while I'm sleeping. And Pat, I don't like the idea of putting things where things don't generally belong. And I think also what, so to speak. And so also I think what would happen, you might be shutting off a warning device. You might interfere with your olfactory nerve, sense of smell perhaps, and this could perhaps alert you to something going awry while you slept. So folks, I'm against this. Thank you.
All right, you're going to have to depend on the people panel because David was not on your side, but the others seem to be. The members of the people panel have heard what the smart Alecks have had to say. They're now voting, as you can see. Remember, they're considering this idea from the point of view of necessity, practicality, and marketability, and they've got $500 to award in each area. Okay, Mr. Marylander, you still got the same panel?
Yes, Mr. Ludden.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Marylander. He has the results.
Yes, our people panel did not turn up their nose to this idea. They...
Very good. Oh, geez. You're going to have my job if you don't watch out.
They awarded Mrs. Russo $285 on marketability, $280 on necessity, and $262 on practicality.
Very good, Bonnie. You can buy a lot of nosebuds. You can put a lot on the market because you got a total of $827 for your nosebuds. Congratulations. Hey, stick around. We'll be right back. Mr. Sandman, bring me a drink. You know, from time to time here in the Smart Alecks, we like to honor a deserving person with a special Smart A award. Now, with the pressing problems of our energy shortage, with unemployment still on the rise, and with the skies over America so polluted it's hard to tell day from night, the Smart Alecks would like to honor a Dr. Frederick Axelrod. Now, Dr. Axelrod spent $150,000 of the taxpayers' money to find out why fish get drunk. Years of experiments, thousands of dollars, and schools of fish later, Dr. Axelrod concluded that fish get drunk when they consume too much alcohol. So, Dr. Axelrod, we'd like to honor you with our Smart A award for coming up with the most useless idea of the day. And that's it for today. Thank you, people panel. Thank you, Mr. Marylander. Thank you, enterprising guests. And thank you, Smart Alecks, David Letterman, Pat Carroll, and good old Don Meredith. I'm telling you, if you have a great idea that needs some money to develop it, why don't you tell us about it? And maybe you'll be right here. However, you'll have to face the Smart Alecks. See you the next time.